In a small village nestled among rolling hills, a young man lived a life shadowed by unrest. His mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, endlessly circling through memories of days gone by and anxieties about what lay ahead. Each night, sleep eluded him, his thoughts racing like leaves caught in a storm. The weight of his restless mind pressed heavily on his heart, leaving him yearning for peace that seemed forever out of reach. The young man's days were filled with distraction. He walked through the village, barely noticing the vibrant colors of blooming flowers or the cheerful songs of birds perched in ancient trees. His steps were heavy, his gaze distant, as if he was searching for something intangible, something just beyond his grasp. The villagers, kind and simple in their ways, saw his struggle but could offer no remedy. They lived their lives with quiet contentment, while he felt like a stranger in their midst, trapped in a cycle of unease. One morning, driven by a desperate need for clarity, the young man sought out the village elder, a man known for his wisdom. The elder lived in a modest hut at the edge of the village, surrounded by a garden of herbs and wildflowers. His face was lined with years of experience, his eyes bright with a calm that seemed to radiate from within. The young man approached, his heart heavy with questions, hoping the elder could offer a path to the peace he so desperately sought. The elder listened silently as the young man poured out his troubles. He spoke no words, but his presence was steady, like an ancient tree rooted deep in the earth. When the young man finished, the elder rose and retrieved a simple clay cup from a wooden shelf. He filled it to the brim with water from a nearby jug, the surface trembling slightly under the weight of its fullness. Without explanation, the elder handed the cup to the young man and gestured toward a path that led to the far end of the village. The task was clear: carry the cup to the end of the path and return without spilling a single drop. The young man hesitated, unsure of the purpose behind such a seemingly simple task. Yet, trusting the elder's wisdom, he took the cup and began his journey. The path was uneven, winding through the heart of the village. As he walked, he gripped the cup tightly, his eyes fixed on the water's surface. Each step demanded his full attention, for even the slightest misstep could send the water spilling over the edge. The world around him faded into a blur. The barking of dogs, the laughter of children playing in the dust, the chatter of villagers going about their day, all of it melted away. His mind, once a storm of thoughts, narrowed to a single point: the cup in his hands. The journey to the end of the village was not long, but it felt like an eternity. Every pebble on the path, every gust of wind became a challenge to his focus. He moved slowly, deliberately, his breath steady as he balanced the cup. When he reached the far end, marked by an old stone well, he turned and began the return journey. The task consumed him entirely. The worries that had plagued him, regrets of the past, fears of the future, had no space to intrude. For the first time in as long as he could remember, his mind was quiet, his heart steady. When he finally returned to the elder's hut, the cup still full, he stood before the wise man, breathless but triumphant. The elder's eyes twinkled with understanding as he took the cup and placed it back on the shelf. The young man, still catching his breath, realized something extraordinary. During his journey, he had noticed nothing but the water in the cup. The village, with all its sounds and sights, had vanished from his awareness. His mind had been wholly present, tethered to the task at hand. The elder's expression softened, and he gestured for the young man to sit. In the silence that followed, the elder's wisdom unfolded like a flower opening to the sun. True peace, he conveyed, was not found in escaping the world or chasing distant dreams. It was not something to be sought in the past or the future, nor was it hidden in far-off places. Peace was already within, waiting to be uncovered by living fully in the present moment. The cup of water had been a tool, a way to show the young man how to anchor his restless mind. By focusing on the task, he had let go of the burdens that weighed him down, if only for a time. The young man sat in stillness, the elder's words sinking deep into his soul. He saw now that his suffering came not from the world around him, but from his own wandering thoughts. The past, with its regrets, could not be changed. The future, with its uncertainties, could not be controlled. But the present, this moment, this breath, was his to embrace. The realization was like a key turning in a lock, opening a door he had not known existed. From that day forward, the young man's life began to change. He returned to his small home, but it felt different now, as if the walls themselves had softened. He began to practice what the elder had shown him, anchoring himself in the present. When he ate, he savored the warmth of the bread and the sweetness of the fruit. When he walked, he felt the earth beneath his feet and the breeze against his skin. When thoughts of the past or future crept in, he gently brought his focus back to the moment, like guiding a wandering child back home. The villagers noticed the change. The young man's steps were lighter, his eyes brighter. He smiled more, not because his circumstances had changed, but because he had. The world around him seemed to glow with new life. The rustle of leaves, the warmth of the sun, the laughter of children all became gifts to be cherished. Sleep, once a stranger, came easily now, his mind no longer a battleground of restless thoughts. The young man's journey had not taken him far from the village, yet it had transformed him. He carried the elder's lesson in his heart. Peace was not a destination to be reached, but a way of being, found in the simple act of living fully in the now. Each moment became an opportunity to practice, to choose presence over distraction, calm over chaos. And in that choice he found a freedom he had never known. The village continued its quiet rhythm, the hills standing watch as they always had. But for the young man, everything was different. He had discovered that peace was not something to be found outside himself. It was a flame that had always burned within, waiting for him to tend it with care. By letting go of the past and the future, he had unlocked a life of quiet joy, one moment at a time.